A long time ago, a young adventurer found a scroll with an ancient writing of a long-dead tongue. In an attempt to uncover its secrets, he headed down to the far Seahorse Kingdom, a dangerous place ruled by a ruthless despot named Ollie the Oligarch. Welcome, my lords and ladies, to the Seahorse Kingdom in Ollie the Oligarch torture chamber, where ye have come for a little stress test. Oh my god. A mitochondrial stress test. First, behold our dungeon. Notice the electrified chains hanging on the left. Let them remind you that the Mito stress test examines the electron transport chain inside the powerhouse of the cell, the mitochondrion. The assay follows 3 injections in sequence: oligomycin, FCCP, and finally rotenone plus antimycin A. Each changes the cell's oxygen consumption rate, or OCR, in a predictable way. This informs us about the health of the mitochondria and whether or not they've become dysfunctional with respect to their ability to carry out oxidative phosphorylation. Let us begin with oligomycin, our first injection. Okay, injection 1. Ollie the Oligarch, for oligomycin, the villain of our tale, loves to rule with an iron fist. He likes to keep his subjects, well, subjugated. Notice the shape of Ollie's throne, like a V for victory or complex 5 of the electron transport chain, in other words, ATP synthase. When you see Ollie on his victory throne, remember, oligomycin inhibits complex 5. Notice his subjugated subject, and he's using him as a footstool. Ollie's fat legs are suffocating the peasant, represented by his blue color. Let the suffocating blue men who are cyanotic, remind you of a drop in oxygen consumption. Since oligomycin inhibits complex 5, causing oxygen consumption rate linked to ATP synthase to fall, let's continue to the right. We'll see how Ollie ruled with an iron fist and the second injection, FCCP. Okay, injection 2. You can't rule a kingdom without a little fear and torture, right? Here we have 2 CCP officers, the Castle Corrections Police or any other CCP you associate with authoritarian torture and humiliation. Let that CCP remind you of the drug FCCP. Now notice the man getting beaten. He appears bright red. He's also at the highest point in the scene. Let this remind you that FCCP causes an increase in oxygen consumption to its highest point. FCCP uncouples the mitochondrial membrane and allows the protons back across the inner mitochondrial membrane without sending them through ATP synthase. As the proton gradient collapses, the electron transport chain goes into overdrive, trying to pump those protons back out. Because oxygen is the final electron acceptor, oxygen consumption rises to its maximal rate. Let the huffing of the man being beaten remind you of the H's that are going down their gradient. Third injection. You can't rule a kingdom without rooting out some corruption. Ollie's first and third sons have been bad boys. In order to deal with these 2 bad boys, Ollie has called in the rat and anti-mice patrol. Let this remind you of the third injection, a combination of rotenone and antimycin A. Get it? Rotenone and antimycin? Never mind. Anyway, you'll notice the sons are dead in blue. This is because rotenone and antimycin A cause mitochondrial oxygen consumption, and therefore the electron transport chain to completely stop. Any oxygen consumption that remains is considered non-mitochondrial. This is why his sons are blue and dead. Remember, rotenone eliminates the first son, complex 1, while antimycin A eliminates the third, complex 3. Okay, so let's review. This scene is all about the Mito stress test, oxygen consumption, and inhibition of proteins in the electron transport chain. We have the first injection of oligomycin, which inhibits complex 5, ATP synthase, which drops oxygen consumption from complex 5, represented by Ollie the Oligarch on his victory throne with his suffocating subject. In the center, we have the second injection of FCCP. Remember, FCCP uncouples the mitochondrial membrane, allowing the protons to flow down their gradient. To compensate, the electron transport chain shifts into overdrive, increasing oxygen consumption to its highest rate. We represent that by the red man seen here, and the FCCP officers who are beating him red. Finally, on the right, we have the final injection of 2 drugs, rotenone and antimycin. This will inhibit complex 1 and 3 entirely, causing oxygen consumption due to respiration to stop entirely. We represent this here by the rat and anti-mice patrol poisoning Ollie's first and third dissenting sons, who've all gone completely blue and dead, stopping entirely, like the mitochondrial respirations the drugs have inhibited. No more oxygen consumption for them. Until next time, close your eyes and remember, always Seahorse Kingdom. Ask yourself, could you survive in the Seahorse Kingdom in Ollie's Mito stress test? Picture the names. Picture the scenes. Ask yourself what each one meant. And then you'll remember to tell your friends. Oh yeah, I remember that.